Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with great recent recordings of the classics, performances since the turn of the 21st century that fill us with hope that all is not lost when it comes to idiomatic interpretations of the iconic works of the classical repertoire, and particularly, to be honest, the romantic repertoire, because that's the thing that seems to be somewhat on the outs these days, which is fascinatingly ironic because it's the most popular stuff and it's the raison d'etre for symphony orchestras the world over. And for them to be sort of turning their backs on the Tchaikovskys and Brahmses and whatnot is kind of crazy, isn't it? You know, trying to strip down and authenticize and de-emotionalize and what is going on out there? I have no idea. Of course, there is also the possibility that that actually reflects the zeitgeist, the public taste for such things. But my experience of the public taste for such things is that no, that's wrong. But there's hope. And that's what I wanted to propose in this particular case. I'm talking about the Dvořák Violin Concerto and this absolutely stunning reference recording featuring Anne-Sophie Mutter and the Berlin Philharmonic under Manfred Honeck. I mean, wow, baby, is this hot. Hot, hot, hot. I mean, they're just heaving and drooling and sweating and panting. And oh my gosh, you want to take a shower after you listen to it in a good way. Use some wonderfully scented bath soap. Anyway, Mutter has been going through a romantic reawakening, more or less, in her career, and she's sometimes with really slovenly, horrifying results, as in the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, which was just ghastly, her latest recording of that. But sometimes, as here, she's on fire. And it's just a performance replete with heart-on-sleeve emotionality and spontaneity and excitement. And Honeck is with her 100%. I mean, he just has the Berlin Philharmonic digging into the accompaniment. They go crazy on it. I mean, you just can't believe that it's the nice old Dvorak Violin Concerto that we're used to from like Suk and Anshel, which is fabulous as well. Don't get me wrong, but the thing I'm trying to get at is that part of the perhaps part of the fetish for authenticity, which we've heard in the period instrument movement trying to encroach on the Romantic era, which it has done with almost no success. I mean, it's just been a disaster. Most of what they've done after, like, say, early Beethoven has just been wretched. But the interesting thing is that it all depends on what your view is of idiomatic performance. On the one hand, you could say that it's a bunch of instrumental construction issues and performance strictures based on arcane treatises which nobody ever read, which is what most of the period instrument movement is. Or, alternately, it could be perhaps a more aesthetic approach based on what we know from anecdotal sources and from the existing tradition of performance, a lot of which was documented in early historical recordings. And so that's a very different thing. And if you want to go about it that way, then you might well arrive at an approach toward late 19th century music, that is the romantic classics that everybody loves, the real chestnuts, which is really close to what actually should be done. In other words, that they should be spontaneous and emotional, and you don't have to be all that faithful to the literal text. You can bring something of yourself if you're a fire-breathing virtuoso. There's a real possibility that as part of this trend towards authenticity, we could recapture some of what we already knew, and which obviously, people did, and we have documentation that that's what they did. But it has to be cast in in a new sort of way, if it can be defined, if it can be presented as part of this push toward authenticity in all things, and scholarly something or other, the patina of scholarly sanction or whatever, not sanction, whatever, legitimacy, that's the word. Well, it could be that the romantic style and romantic music will not be dead for long. I suspect that will be the case for two reasons. Number one is that the music demands it, and sensitive musicians are not going to be able to, sort of ruin the music forever. That's one thing. And the other thing is because it's the right way to do it. I mean, if you look at the actual sources, if you listen to the evidence, if you actually pay attention, then what you're going to hear is that. And that's what you get here in this amazing Dvorak Violin Concerto featuring Anne-Sophie Mutter with the Berlin Philharmonic under Manfred Honeck. Holy cow, it's sensational. And it was recorded in 2015. So it just means that, yes, there is hope. It's all going to come back. What goes around comes around. It's a cyclical thing. So we just have to grit our teeth and wait until the sensitive musicians wake up and start playing this stuff the way that, of course, we all know it's supposed to go. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.